Hi everyone, it's me, Gigi. I'm back. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. And this week we are going to do a November Ravelry Roundup. Okay, so there were so many patterns that came out in November. I literally had well over 40, and I had to narrow it down. I really just kind of picked the ones that I was drawn to and the ones that I thought were interesting or that I would like to knit. Obviously, all of this is just my opinion, but I narrowed it down to 29. There's 25 patterns that you can purchase, and I found 4 of them that are free. One of them is free for a limited time. So let's get on with that. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to do kind of just a general overview. If you are interested in any of these, let's go ahead and you can look at the description below. And I put them all into a Ravelry bundle, and I will give you the link in the description down below. Before we get started, if you like this video, if you find that it's given you something, some kind of inspiration, or you enjoyed watching my craziness, whatever I bring to the table, please give me a thumbs up. Please like it. And don't forget to subscribe and to set the notifications. I am really striving to have a new video up every Friday morning, early in the morning. For me, Pacific Standard Time, 6 a.m. And I think that's about it. Please share this video. Let other people know in our community that I'm here. It's, YouTube's a really big place and it's hard to sometimes get noticed. I do this because I love it. I do it because I really am looking for a community. I really appreciate comments. I'm getting to know some of my regular commenters, and I really appreciate it. I do try to respond to absolutely everyone. If I don't just heart it or give you a thumbs up, sometimes I will reply and respond that way. So anyway, let's dive on in. We have a lot to go over. So here we go. Free patterns. I have 4. The first one is called Sagacious, and it is designed by Emma L. Buttram. And so this is a free pattern for a limited time. If you go on Ravelry, there is a link, so you can go on her website and go ahead and download that. She uses a fingering on this, and the gauge is 26 stitches and over 32 rows on a 3.75 millimeter needle. So this one, I think she doesn't have a lot about it. It's just using, I think she says this is an adventurous beginner knitter. It means, sagacious means wise, discerning, shrewd. And this can easily be applied to, it's a simple tube scarf. The scarf's double thickness makes it warm and snuggly. The construction allows you to work the piece solely with knit stitches without having loads of ends to weave in, which I like. I think that's a great part of it. And since, they're all trapped in the middle of the tube. Plus, the scarf looks much harder than it actually is, she says. All in all, it's a shrewd pattern choice for discerning knitters of all skill levels. I like this. You can use the gradient yarn. You can use advent yarn. You can use 2 fingerings held together and marl it. There are a lot of things that you can do with this and make it really creative and really make it your own. So that is the Sagacious Shawl by Emma Buttram. The next one is a free sweater pattern, and it's called Between the Trees by Amy Gunderson. Okay, so this one I thought was really interesting because it was kind of a mosaic. I believe she says this was inspired by the beautiful forestry in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Between the trees blends 3 colors in a gradient fashion. The twisted tree stitch pattern is worked with a single color in some instances and in 2 colors during the blending sections. So during these blending sections, she says you hold both the colors together throughout the round, changing colors using stranded colorwork method. And she says, don't worry, there are no color changes done flat. All of them are done in the round, which, as all of us know, how much we love not having to do stranded colorwork flat. So this is done Aran weight yarn, she says, and the gauge is 19 stitches to 27 rows. And she uses a 4.5 millimeter or US 7 needle. So that is Between the Trees by Amy Gunderson. Free pattern. The next free pattern is called Maria Riscus Sweater, and it is by Angela Quaresma. So this one, she says, it's very warm, lightweight, and comfortable sweater, both to knit and to wear. This sweater has a relatively simple construction with dropped shoulders. It has a few details that give it personality, such as the increased details at the armholes and the stripe pattern. And who doesn't love a great stripe? There's so much you can do with a stripe. You can do various colors. You could do an ombre of stripes. So much you can do. It is knitted, interestingly, from the bottom up in the round up until the armhole zone. And from there you work the back and the front. They're knitted separately. Then you finish with the neckline, and finally the stitches are picked up to knit the sleeves. So I've done a sweater like this before, knitted from the bottom up. Most of those that I've done have a lace bottom edging, so you have to do them from the bottom up. Bottom up is a little bit more difficult as far as the length. You really need to know your length from your underarm down, from how low you want it to go. So I will caution you on that. If you don't know your measurements, it can be a little tricky, or if you don't know what your yarn is going to do once you block it. Sometimes yarn is much more stretchy than others and will grow. Other times it won't. So this is one that you really have to know your yarn. You're going to have to know your measurements, but I actually like a bottom up sweater. It doesn't bother me at all. So that is the Maria Riscus sweater from Angela Quaresma, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. This next one is socks, and it's called gnoming socks. As soon as you see this picture right here, you will understand why it's called gnoming socks. It is by Anno Knits, and this is inspired by little woodland gnomes, of course. What struck me about this, which I thought was adorable, are the noses on these gnomes. They're baubles. I mean, how adorable is that? Perfect Christmas knit. We're at a good time. Pretty much, if we're not inundated, we should be able to knock out a pair of socks for Christmas, for gifting, if you want to do that. They are knit from the cuff down, and you do use stranded color work in this. The color work pattern and the toe are both charted, and then all the other instructions are written. So there's 6 rows where 3 colors are used at the same time, but more often than not, it's 2 colors. So not too many rows with 3 colors. That should be pretty easy to do. The sock width can be modified easily, she said, by decreasing more or less stitches on row 24 of the colorwork pattern. So she's laid this whole thing out, told you how to make them bigger or smaller in circumference. And this pattern is free, and she says it will always be free. She says it has not been tested, but she has knit this twice. So she's done it twice. She figures if I can do it, you can do it. That is Gnoming Socks by Anno Knits. Now let's move on to all the paid patterns in Ravelry, and we're going to go ahead and start with socks. The first set of socks is the Ooey Gooey sock set by Andrea Mowry. Now this is part of her Ooey Gooey sweater and her Ooey Gooey cowl. So now she has a sock set that she's offered. And if you look at the toe on this, how cute is this? This is an adorable pair of socks. I have heard from multiple people that they are absolutely a delight to knit, and they just flew right off their needles. So, you know, when you're having a good time knitting, it makes it go a lot faster, and it's a lot to get through. So this one's interesting. She says she has actually designed the pattern 2 ways. So you can do it toe up with a fleagle heel, or you can knit it cuff down with a heel flap. I love how she however you prefer, she gives it to you. And that's wonderful. Okay, so yarn requirements, there are, let's see, what does she use? Dyed in the wool, so sport weight. She's using sport weight socks, 34 stitches and 48 rows, and it's on a 2.25 millimeter or 2 millimeter, so US 0 or 1 size needles. And she has them in 5 sizes. So she's been very, very generous with this pattern and how it helps you knit these patterns. So that's the Ooey Gooey sock set by Andrea Mowry. The next socks are the Dottie socks by Tracy Miller. These were actually designed and knit for, or designed for the 2025 Knit for the Girls Breast Cancer fundraiser that included Thread and Maple and Louie and Lola yarns, along with the Grocery Girls. And they were raising money for breast cancer awareness and research. So here's the details on this one. It was written for the magic loop style knitting, but she also gives you tips if you want to use DPN for this. She has 2 cuffs included. She has a straight cuff or a fun little ruffle cuff. Comes in 4 sizes, and this is actually very fun to knit because it's mosaic slip stitch design. So you're just knitting stripes one color at a time, and then you're slipping some stitches of the opposite color. So it's not stranded color work if that scares you or puts you off. It is actually just slip stitches, and you're only knitting with one color of yarn at the same time. This has been tech edited and test knitted, and she says thank you to all the test knitters for doing this. I think these socks are adorable. They would be a really quick knit. I think I'm going to actually knit these for my daughter-in-law because they are so cute. I'm waiting for some yarn, some Christmas yarn from Frankie Gray Fibers, and I'm going to knit these with that yarn. So this is the Dottie Socks by Tracy Miller. Now let's move on to cowls. The first one is a new to me designer. Her name is Ksenia Nadion, and it's called the Cyclamen Cowl. I actually watched on her Instagram, and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for this to come out. So it finally came out. I didn't film until this one actually dropped because I wanted to include it. I think it is such a beautiful, elegant design. You're knitting down into loops and pulling up long strands to make these little flowers in this cowl. It isn't hard. She does have videos showing you how to do it. This is perfect for a precious set of minis or a variety of leftover yarns. And this designer, she is actually from the Ukraine, living in San Francisco. And so she's new to me. I don't know particularly if any of you have seen her. If you haven't, I hope this is a great introduction. She has some beautiful work. I have another cowl from her I'm going to show you guys. So this is, let's see, a total of 400 yarns, fingering weight in at least 2 colors. And then you can use as many colors as you wish. The pattern requires a minimum of 50 yards. 20-gram mini skein is about 82 yards. So you can use this, you can use an advent if you want. You can use leftover yarn, your scraps, whatever you want. It is knit on a 3.25 millimeter or size US 3 needle, and it's 24 stitches and 40 rows over your 4 inches, your 10 centimeters in garter stitch blocked. So that is the Cyclamen Cowl by, I have to say her name, let's see, Ksenia Nadion. And I'll put it up here so you can see it all. The next one is called the Light Bright Loop. Now, all you have to do is look at the picture. It looks like light brights, right? I love that. This is by Wool and Pine. And let's see, we are going to use on this one, what kind of yarn? Fingering weight. Oh, you can do it in either fingering weight in 5 colors, or you can do fingering weight in 17 colors. You could do DK in 5 colors or DK in 19 colors. So she has the option for both. This is what she says. Light Bright Loop brings all the playful color blending of our fan favorite Light Bright and extra Light Bright sweaters into a cozy wearable cowl. This is a stash lover's dream. Grab your leftovers, minis, hand-spun treasures, or the ends of your sweater fades and turn them into a colorful accessory that's super fun and easy to knit. It uses a simple stranded color work motif with no floats. So it's probably really similar to the sea glass sweater, where it's every stitch is a new color. So you're just alternating your stitches. I don't know how I could say that. Anyway, you can fade boldly, knit softly, shifting gradients, or go full confetti explosion. I think this would lend well to variegated yarn. This is just really, really cute. I think I want to knit this one. I'm going to use this as an advent knit because it looks really easy and lots of fun. So that's the Light Bright Loop by Woolen Pine. Next one is again from my new to me designer, Ksenia Nadjian. It is called the Sweet Bay Cowl. Look at the stitching on this. Is that not just beautiful? And I actually love, I couldn't get a really good picture of the tassel. It looks like it has double balls before you get to the tassel point. This is so beautiful. She uses a DK on this. The yarn she used was Juicy DK by Farmer Daughters Fibers. And here's what she says. It says, the Sweet Bay Cowl draws its inspiration from the graceful leaves and delicate blooms of the Sweet Bay magnolia, a tree that flourishes throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. This design combines a look of a triangular shawl with effortless styling and a coziness of a cowl. Interesting shaping cuts off the bulk of the fabric at the back of the neck, making the cowl easy to wear under jackets and coats, and also makes it possible to complete the whole piece in under 2 skeins of DK weight yarn. Okay, that's fabulous. I love that. I've got a lot of DK, just 2 skeins. This would be great. So the directions are both charted and written out. So either way, you can't go wrong with that one. This again is the Sweet Bay Cowl by Ksenia Nadjian. Okay, that's it for cowls. Let's move on to shawls. This first shawl is called Scallopini and it's by Pam Powers. This one is knit with crochet edging and she uses a chunky weight yarn in 2 colors. She uses 6mm knitting needles or a US 10, and then the crochet hook is a 5mm crochet hook or a US H crochet hook. This is just adorable. I love the scallops on it. I think it would be really fun to knit. It's very beautiful, very feminine. Oh, she says Aran weight, 16 stitches and 23 rows. 265 yards is what you need. So 57 inches wide, 12 inches deep. It's beautiful. I really like this one. I think it's very classy. And that would be the Scallopini by Pam Powers. This next shawl is called the Twig Shawl, and it's by Tin Can Knits. It is 2 sizes, child/shawlette size or an adult size shawl. And it is knit in DK weight yarn. So if you choose the smaller size, you're going to need about 500 yards. If you do the larger or adult size, you'll need 1,000 yards of DK yarn. And it is knit on a 3.75mm or US 5 needle and a 3.5mm or 4 US needle. Gauge is 20 stitches over 40 rows. And I just really like the pattern design on this. I love the stitch design. I think it's really beautiful. It lends itself to be very, very classy and elegant. So that to me is the Twig Shawl by Tin Can Knits. The last one is kind of a combination because it's a matching shawl/scarf and hat, and it's called Highline, and it's by Jennifer Shields Toland. She uses a DK weight yarn in this. It says it's being published December 2025 because really what she's doing is a 12 days before Christmas knit along, and it will be available November 28th. So by the time this drops, it will be on Ravelry and available for you to purchase. This is really pretty. I actually really love how it matches the hat. I'm thinking about doing this for one of my daughters for Christmas. And the stitch pattern is beautiful. It kind of, yeah, I wouldn't say it has Sophie Shawl vibes. No, not really. As I'm looking at it, I really like how you have the stripe in the middle, the garter stripes in the middle. I think that's really pretty and looks really nice. And the hat itself, I'll show this up here, matches with it. It just lends itself. Again, I kind of tend to go for a little bit more classic knits, things that are timeless and that can be worn for, years to come. And so that's kind of more the direction that I go when I choose what I want to knit. So that is the Highline hat and the Highline shawl / scarf. So now let's move on to a cardigan. We have one. Here is the Hearthside Cardigan by Wool & Pine. This is all about plush texture, scrappy color, kind of comfort that feels like home, is what the designer says. She says, imagine curling up with your comfort show wrapped in a squishy brioche hug with enough structure from the thoughtful shoulder and neckline shaping so you can throw it on for coffee runs too. It's worked in basic 2-color brioche with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn held together for both the foreground and the background colors. The marled effect comes from changing 1 strand at a time so colors blend and flow softly. Speckles and small leftovers shine here, creating gentle shifts and layered depth. I love that. It says a deep marled garter hem and cuffs anchor the design, and the oversized garter shawl collar brings just the right amount of structure. She says they also included a video guide to help you choose and blend colors for smooth transitions for your own custom palette. So that to me is wonderful because there's a lot of information about it. If you have any questions, you can refer to the video. This construction is actually really good. And you can bundle and save patterns. They're saying if you add 3 or more to your cart, you actually get 20% off and there's no code needed. So if you like Wool & Pine designs, go ahead and get 3 of them and you'll get 20% off. Again, Hearthside Cardigan by Wool & Pine. Next, we're going to go on to the sweaters. I've got a lot of sweaters, so let's get going on those. First sweater, my favorite things. I love her designs. Sweater number 33. And this is done in an Aran weight with 16 stitches and 24 rows as the gauge. And she's suggesting 5mm or US 8 needle and a 4mm or US 6, obviously for the ribbing. I love this because it's got such interesting the way the raglan sleeve goes down, but you have the kind of a ribbing over that shoulder and then the large ribbing on both the cuff and the hem. Really pretty, uber soft. I think you could hold this with a DK and a merino or a Surrey alpaca and it would be uber soft. Oversized, which I love in the wintertime. That's a beautiful, cozy, warm winter knit. So again, that is sweater number 33 by My Favorite Things. This next one is called the Twizzle Sweater, and it's by Astrid Euler, a German designer. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the cables on those sleeves. Are they not just beautiful? It says that this is a timeless raglan sweater with slightly varied increases, featuring an interesting cable pattern, very interesting, design for Rohrspatz and Wollmeis's pure merino yarn. It's a superwash, 100% superwash merino that she used for this. The instructions offer you maximum flexibility. You can adjust the body and the sleeve width to your individual measurements and choose between 2 neckline widths, which I love that because the instructions are so variable. She cannot give exact details about the amount of yarn used. So I would say always get an extra skein on this one so that you don't end up playing yarn chicken. This one is really lovely. I love the step-by-step instructions with tips for the cable patterns and the ribbed cuffs. All of this will make a spectacularly beautiful sweater. That's the Twizzle Sweater by Astrid Mueller. This next one is so beautiful. It is called the Midsummer by Make Van Gage. I don't know how to say this. I will put her name up here. And it is in the new book it's coming out by Line Publishing. So you can only get it if you purchase the book. And I will say the book is fairly pricey. It is 47 US dollars. I have looked at this. They gave us a preview of the pattern, and it's a floral colorwork yoke sweater with a relaxed yet elegant fit. It's knit seamlessly from the top down, and it was inspired by the iconic photograph of Tove Jansson wearing a midsummer flower wreath. Tove often depicts midsummer as a magical, mysterious time of quiet seas and ponds, blossoming meadows. This sweater is an ode to Tove and her art, and it's inspired by a celebration that she cherished. So this sweater, the flower garlands on the sweater are done using stranded color work, and then they're enhanced with duplicate stitch after the garment has been knit to add more variety and soften the repeats, moving beyond the typical rhythms of traditional stranded motifs. So I thought that made it really fascinating, very feminine, very soft. I don't know if I'm going to purchase the book in order to get this pattern, but I will say, looking at a preview of the patterns in this book, this is not the only one in the book that's really beautiful and something that I could knit. So if there are probably 3 or 4 patterns in there that I would knit, I would probably make the investment to purchase the book. Line makes some beautiful, beautiful publications, not just their magazine, but their book. And so I'm kind of tempted on this one, but I thought I'd put it out there, let you know. You can look at it. You can find it through the link in the Ravelry bundle that I put in the description down below, and read about that for yourself. So that again is the Midsummer Sweater. This next sweater is the Linnea Sweater by Petite Knits. And this one is, again, drop shoulder, oversized turtleneck sweater, but she's added some really interesting details to it, which is right along the back yoke and the lines of where the seams come together. You can do the same yarn color if you want. You can do a contrasting yarn color. I thought this was really pretty. It is worked from the top down. First, the back yoke is worked back and forth with short rows to create the curved shape of the back yoke. And then she says a contrast color line is worked along the cast on edge of the back yoke to emphasize the shaping of the back. And then the shoulders and the front are worked from stitches that are picked up and knitted along this contrast color line. The sleeves are worked from stitches that are picked up and knitted along the armhole openings. And then at the end, the stitches are picked up and knitted around the neck opening, and the neck edge is worked in a rib. I actually like finishing off my sweater. I don't necessarily like working top-down sweaters, doing the neck, rib neck, and then going into the yoke. I actually like having the opening and then taking the rib afterwards, picking it up and bringing it in, because a lot of times the neck opening is too large for my personal preference. And what ends up happening is it just stretches out, and I have to either wear a shirt under it or a t-shirt or a blouse, something like that. And so with this way, this type of construction, you can pick up fewer stitches around the neck and bring the neck up and make it smaller. Or you can knit a longer depth rib if you want, and that will close it up for you. I just think it lends to more customization for how each of us individually like our sweaters to lay on, above the collarbone, below the collarbone, however it is that we enjoy our collars, our openings of our sweaters to be. So to me, I love that. Linnea sweater again by Petite Knits. Oh, and you know what I didn't say? Let me tell you the yarn. I apologize. It's worked on an Aran weight, 18 stitches to 26 rows over stockinette, and she uses 4mm US size 6, a 3.5mm US size 4, and a 3mm US size 2.5 to knit this. Obviously, however you get gauged, those are the needles you're going to go with. So she worked this in a Samniscarn Atlas yarn, and again, Linnea sweater by Petite Knits. This next sweater is called Navaria, and it is by Knit and Spritz. And this one, I really love this because it's worked top down, starting from it's a half twisted rib with delicate lace touch for really contemporary, subtly bold, modern look. So it has timeless capacity to it, but it also has a modern twist to it. I love this half twisted rib. I love the lace on this. I love the structure and geometric part of it. So she says it's worked top down. You start from a half twisted rib collar shaped with German short rows and then folded for a clean and structured finish. The yoke is worked in the round with shoulder increases. Then stitches are split to work front and back flat until reaching the armhole depth, and then you join in the round. A lot of sweaters are done that way, which don't bother me that much. There are very few ways to construct a sweater now that I would complain about, not too much. So I don't really like the knitting everything flat in pieces and then sewing everything together. I don't really do those anymore. That seems to be, to me, to be kind of an outdated mode of knitting. But this is not done that way. This is done in a fairly typical top-down fashion. The entire sweater, she says, features half twisted rib, and it's highlighted by a delicate lace detail along the body and sleeve hems. So that is the Navaris sweater by Knit and Spritz. Okay, one of my favorite designers for men's sweaters is Maxim Cyr, and he has the Stripe-tastic hoodie. This is just beautiful. I don't know what words there are to express how I feel about this hoodie. It's very Max, all extremely masculine. Love his colors. I know that army green color is his favorite color. He told me once that is his favorite color, and that's why that color is called Max. He knit this in a DK, so I'm guessing that he used his British DK yarn for that, and probably one of his marls for maybe the stripes. It's a modern hoodie design, he says, featuring reverse stockinette stripes for added texture and depth. Beginning at the collar with a provisional cast on, it is worked seamlessly from the top down. The wide raglan bands define the shaping lines, adding interest to the relaxed silhouette. The neckline is then picked up to work a fully lined hood, which I love because you don't have, when you put it down, you don't have all the yucky inside that you get to see. It's fully lined. And then it's finished with a neat and polished drawstring, which I imagine is probably an I-cord. He has 9 sizes on this, and the gauge, let's see, 20 stitches and 31 rows, and he uses a 3.75 millimeter or size 5 and a 3.25 millimeter or size 3 for the ribbing part of it. So that is the Stripe-tastic hoodie by Maxim Cyr. This next sweater is called the Winnie sweater by Lily Kate France. I love her designs. They are always very classic and very pretty. This is such a beautiful V-neck sweater, and then it has delicate lace edging. I love the edging on this. It's got a relaxed fit and an understated elegant vibe. This is definitely one that I'm going to put into my queue for something I want to knit. She uses a sport or light DK weight yarn. And it is the sister pattern to the Winnie top. There's a code when you click on the Ravelry bundle. If you want both of them together, she gives you a discount for buying the two together. So let's see, she does this in a DK, or you could probably do sport. And it's 21 and a half stitches over 29 rows using a 3.75 millimeter or US size 5 needle. So that is the Winnie sweater by Lily Kate France. Okay, second to last sweater is called Triple Time by Elizabeth Smith. This is knit with a lace weight held triple. I think obviously that's why she calls it Triple Time. This is why I really picked this one, because I have been looking for a really great sweater that I can knit with mohair. When I was on my cruise to Canada and the Maritime Islands up there, I found some purple mohair, but it was different colors of purple, and I wanted to pull them all together into one sweater. This is it. This is the sweater I'm going to use. So she says on here yarn weight bulky, but really what she means by it is you're holding 3 lace weight yarns, which is going to give you a sport weight, but you knit it on 8 millimeter or US 11 needles. So it's very open. It's very airy type of knit. I think that's why she says bulky, because that's what the gauge ends up being, 12 stitches and 18 rows. Obviously, you can knit it using a bulky weight yarn and smaller needles and getting that same gauge, but it is intended to be used with 3 strands of a lace weight, a mohair, or maybe a Surrey silk if you're sensitive to mohair. Here's what she says about it, which I thought was interesting. She says, in music, Triple Time can set a graceful rhythm full of movement. This design takes that idea both literally and figuratively. It's knit with lace weight yarn triple stranded on a large needle, creating a soft, airy fabric that feels effortless to wear. Like its companion design, the downbeat, it embodies simplicity and creative possibility, a steady rhythm you can make your own, whether you keep it classic or improvise your own variations. So it features top-down seamless raglan construction with short rows to shape the neckline. There's also the option to either add an A-line body shaping or no shaping at all. And I love when designers kind of give you an option to do something with it and they help you along the way. So that is Triple Time Sweater by Elizabeth Smith. This last sweater just dropped a couple of days ago, and the moment I saw it, I knew I was going to knit it as soon as I got my Rosie sweater off the needles, which this close. I'm actually 1 row away. I'm doing the setup rows for my Italian bind off on the bottom. So we are set to go. I should have it off the needles tomorrow. Anyway, it's called the Rick Bloom sweater, and it is spectacular. These tiny snowflakes, stranded color work, beautiful. I love the colors variations she has. I'm going to give you the 2 that they put up. It's a worsted weight, 21 stitches and 25 rows using 4 millimeter or US size 6 needle. And it's using Onling yarn, which they do have kits on their website. And I can tell you, even though they came from Denmark, they came so fast. If there's tariffs, I did not know of any. And I got the yarn within 4 or 5 days from Denmark. So I was really excited about that. And I will be featuring that in my acquisitions. I think I did it last week. Yeah. In my last week podcast, you'll see. You can go back if you didn't watch it already. You can go back and see my episode 7. And that has my yarn that I'm going to knit it with. I'm so excited. So let's let's go into what she says. So it's knit on either onling number 1, which is 75% merino and 25% Angora. Oh my gosh. Or the onling number 3, which is 100% organic merino wool. Either one of these, spectacularly soft. Both yarns create a soft, warm, and luxurious sweater where the texture enhances the delicate pattern. Rike Bloom sweater is both fun to knit and a true joy to wear. It's a relaxed, positive ease, casual, feminine. I'm guessing it's top down. It doesn't really say how it's done. Let me keep looking. Let's see. Okay, here's it. So Rike Jonsson is the one who designed this, and it says the entire sweater is worked in pattern. You begin with the back, which is first worked back and forth with short rows at the neck to shape the shoulders. Then you pick up stitches along the left shoulder, shape the front on that side, next do the same on the right side, and then just mirrored. And when the neckline shaping is finished, you cast on stitches at the center front, join the work, and then work in the round in the pattern for the remainder of the body. So you're going to knit the back, you're going to knit the front left, front left, front right. And then after you get them both equal, then you join them in the round, which basically is the underarms. And then you go from there. So stitches for the sleeves are picked up along the armhole, and then you work the pattern in the round and finish with a rib edge. Yep. Done this many, many times. Once you've conquered this style of construction, it's actually very, very easy. Drop shoulder, beautiful knit, oversized sweater, super cozy and soft. I did get the onling number 1. Yeah, I couldn't resist the Angora because that is going to be so soft. I'm really excited about that one. You'll see that on my next podcast because it'll be in my whips. So we have Rike Bloom sweater by Rike Jonsson. That's it for November Ravelry Roundup. I hope you found some stuff that you liked. I hope it was inspirational. I know for me, always getting inspiration from new things coming out, it motivates me to keep going, to learn more, to try new things. There's so much that comes out. It's really hard to knit all the things that I want to knit. I have huge queues of sweaters and scarves and cowls and all kinds of lovely things that I want to knit, but I just keep going. I am a pretty prolific knitter, and I really, really am passionate about this art. I hope that this finds you inspired. I hope you have joy in every single stitch that you do for yourself and your friends and or loved ones. And have a wonderful season. Enjoy this Christmas time, this holiday season, whatever it is that you celebrate this time of year. And may you enjoy all of your knits. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.